Now, there's a couple more things I want to talk about here, because at the same time as I discovered that misunderstanding, I also uncovered a couple others that just came about in, conversations yesterday. So one of them was, and some of you may have seen it in the comments on my Instagram, a discussion about, and I talked about it in the videos last night too, the discussion about the codependent need for your twin versus the surrendered and wanting your twin and all that stuff. So the very last message that person sent me today referred to Cassidy Cain's teachings that once the feminine is in complete surrender and acceptance of the union and feeling worthy of love, then the masculine will contact her. And I read that and I was like, oh my God, now I understand why we were misunderstanding each other, because I had said to her that about that she was describing more of the runner twin, and I'm making it sound like the divine feminine was the runner twin and all of this stuff. And so when she explained that and that it was Cassidy Cain's teachings, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, now this makes sense. I do not agree with Cassidy Cain's teachings and others who are similar. And I have stated that before, although I haven't always used their names. But, they are of a belief that they frequently state that separation is an illusion, and as soon as you can raise your vibration to that high surrendered state, I shouldn't have put my book down, of that complete surrender and acceptance and worthiness, as soon as you can get into that state, your twin will come to you, will contact you, will come running. I disagree with that. I disagree with almost all of that. And there's truths to it, but I don't think it is as simple as what they teach. And it bothers me. Like, it legitimately bothers me. That was one of the reasons why I became a twin flame reader and coach, was because of how much it bothered me. It did not resonate with me, and it did not sit right with me. And I realize now that was, like my own intuition and higher self and spirit telling me, like, you need to correct this or, start teaching something different. But yeah, so I'm going to explain real quick why I have a problem with that. Mainly because it takes everything and puts it all on the feminine, and it doesn't leave the masculine responsible for anything. Now, the whole separation is an illusion thing. Separation is an illusion in the 5D. It's not an illusion in the 3D. That was another thing that bothered me, because I was like, you're not imagining that your twin is not with you in the 3D. So that's another reason why I started, doing this was because so much of the teachings, like from those individuals as well as other twin flame coaches, so much of the teachings were focused so much on the 5D and explaining 5D concepts and stuff, and even using terminology that was higher level advanced terminology, that I was like, how are people who are struggling in the 3D supposed to even understand that, let alone how to implement it in their lives? So that was another reason why I got started doing this. And like I said, my reaction was, even if separation is an illusion from the 5D, and in the spiritual realm you're with your twin, in the 3D physical world you are clearly not, and that is not an illusion. Like, my twin is not sitting next to me and I can't see them, okay? Funny enough, their spirits are. Like, I know my twin's soul, higher self, is with me, but you know what I mean. That could go down another road. But anyway, so yes, you're not imagining that separation is real. So that was part of what bothered me. But the biggest thing with what she said is that whole, as soon as the divine feminine reaches that state, your twin, the divine masculine, will contact her, and I've even heard will come running. That's not true. And it puts all of it on the feminine. That's not true. And it also makes it sound like the feminine is the runner. The masculines run because of their own wounds. and their own things that they need to heal. And yes, they mirror each other. And as the feminine heals, the masculine heals. They help each other heal energetically as they both go through the process. Yes, that is true. And so, yes, theoretically, when the divine feminine reaches a healed enough state where she's in that complete surrender and that complete acceptance, and she's healed her self-worth wounds and all that stuff, the masculine will be following, along with her, and will be healing along with her, and will also become ready. However, it is not 100% on the exact same timing. And the masculine still has to finish his side of the process. He still has his wounds that he has to completely, well, not completely, but he has to mostly heal as well, but heal enough to the point where he's ready for union, which I have said is an 80% threshold, which that number was given to me by Spirit, okay? So if he has not done that yet, he's not going to contact the feminine, and he's not going to come running yet. And I know that from personal experience and from seeing it with clients. Like, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind about that. If you want to use that specific terminology of being in complete surrender and acceptance of the union and feeling worthy of love, and using myself as an example, I can tell you that I have been in acceptance of the union, and I have been in that feeling of being worthy of love for a long time. Surrender, I thought I was completely surrendered several years ago. I have seen over the course of the last several years, since 2021 and 2022, and now the beginning of 2023, I have seen over the course of that time that the state of surrender has deepened. So like, I thought I was surrendered, and that has gotten deeper and deeper at like more to, I don't know the best way to say it. Whether you want to say that I've gotten into deeper layers of surrender, or I've peeled away more layers that I wasn't even conscious of. Like, that's the biggest thing about it. That's the hardest part about it, is that what happens with the feminines is that they get healed to a state where consciously they think that they're completely ready and completely surrendered and all of that stuff. But there's still deeper layers of unconscious wounds that still need to be healed. And there's also past life stuff that still needs to be healed. So the feminine might think that she's ready before she actually is. Or it might not even, if it's the past life stuff, you're not even aware of it. And Spirit will bring it to your awareness for healing when it's meant to be. And that process of healing that happens for the feminine and addressing those unconscious layers and that past life stuff, that I do believe that happens in conjunction with the divine masculine's healing process and the things that he is addressing and going through. And it's out of our control. That's something that Spirit is controlling and guiding. But we are not usually consciously aware of it and what's transpiring. We will become aware of it, but usually after the fact or right when something needs to be addressed. So it is arguable that the divine feminine is actually not in that state of complete surrender, even though she thinks she is. But like I said, like, the worthiness of love and the acceptance of the union, like, I've had those, but I can tell you, I'm not going to, but I could tell you exactly what my divine masculine was dealing with and working on healing, and situations that he's dealing with that were preventing him from coming to me for union. And it wasn't that he didn't want to be with me, he did, but we've been in the reunion stage for almost 2.5 years. And it hasn't been that he hasn't wanted to be with me, but there's still been stuff that he's had to deal with. I don't want to go into every single detail about our story, but my twin, when it comes to when I say that we've been in the reunion stage for 2.5 years, and he's been dealing with things on his end that he still needs to deal with or needed to. I'm talking about both external factors, dealing with the really like narcissistic karmic partner who is doing extensive black magic to keep him stuck with her and block him from coming to me. So dealing with getting away from her because she did use kids and finances to trap and control him. So that is one, mountain to conquer in and of itself. And then on top of that, he also still had to finish healing his own self-worth wounds and his own heart chakra wounds and sacral chakra wounds that were making it hard for him, that caused his avoidant attachment disorder and other psychological health stuff that made it hard for him to completely surrender to unconditional love with me. He has been able to acknowledge how he feels about me and what he wants with me for a long time, but allowing himself to step into it has been something else. So that has been a process. Both of those things, my divine masculine has still had to work through for the last 2.5 years. And I've been fine and I've been ready. I mean, I can tell you I did still go through healing. Like when I talked about those layers of deeper surrender, layers of unconscious wounds that needed to be healed still, the past life stuff. Like I worked through that stuff during the last 2.5 years of the reunion stage. And more and more became evident to me as I went and I understood it better. So that's why I can explain it to you now on the other side of it, understanding it and now being in that complete surrender and no longer feeling the need to try to control or know everything and all of that stuff. So I understand that because I've been through it, and I also can have seen firsthand what my twin has been going through and what he has been healing. So that whole statement of as soon as the feminine is in that state and then your masculine will contact you, like that's not true. And it's a fallacy. It's a false belief. And then add into it, if there's spiritual warfare, which a lot of people don't even realize, spiritual warfare is blocking any progress or movement. Maybe the feminine could be healing and spiritual warfare is completely blocking the masculine. So, that's a whole nother thing. So that's why I don't like Cassidy Cain or her or similar teachings, and they're creating a false belief that maybe that applies to some people who they are meant to help, but it does not apply to all. So just like I was saying how each group of twin flames, twin rays, monadic souls, really needs its own organized information and readers and channels and coaches who understand what they are experiencing. The same thing kind of applies with the teachings from Cassidy Cain and these other twin flame teachers who are teaching about just vibrating higher and just surrendering and healing and separation being an illusion and all that stuff. What they are teaching, and which I know that they have had success with clients, what they are teaching is applicable to some in the twin flame community, but not all. Their teachings are not universal to all twin flames. And I'm sure that whoever they are meant to help is being guided to them. But again, it goes back to that there's all of this information in the twin flame community, and it's confusing people because it's not all applicable to all twin flames. So that's really important to understand, okay? I would definitely say that twin flames with spiritual warfare, are not meant to be helped by Cassidy Cain and the similar coaches, because their teachings cannot apply to twin flames who are dealing with spiritual warfare, because the spiritual warfare blocks it. And one of them, Lightworker Laurie, said to me in an argument that we got into on her page that you can just vibrate above spiritual warfare and it won't affect you. And that is a fallacy. Having defeated a lot of demons and a lot of black magic over 5 years, I can 100% tell you that you cannot just vibrate above it, okay? I have been directly targeted, attacked by demons and a satanic witch, and I can 100% tell you that that statement is not true. It has to be dealt with properly. And the reason why so many twin flames are under spiritual warfare attack is because of the purpose that they serve for ascension. So twin flames are under targeted attacks all the time. The dark is using karmic partners, and the dark is using even other people. I've seen random people get used by the dark to attack twin flames to try to prevent union, because the dark does not want twin flames coming into union, since twin flames are an integral part of the ascension process and are creating new earth. So any spiritual coach or teacher who is dismissive of spiritual warfare, black magic, demonic entities, and all of that stuff, okay, I'm just going to be blunt here. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. and it's because they haven't experienced it. Good for them. A shit ton of twin flames are experiencing it, and it is not our imagination. So that's how I feel about that.